Okay, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much for joining us on this Wednesday evening. This is episode 160 of History Lessons. I am with the legendary waterproof MC Ras Kass.
Peace, peace, peace. What's up, everybody, man? How y'all doing?
We are on the eve almost of the 25th anniversary of Soul on Ice. Before we jump on that, I want to talk a little bit about your journey because it didn't come overnight. For those who may not know, can you take us back to where you were born and raised?
I am a Los Angeles native. So I was born in Hollywood, actually. I was born in Hollywood and raised in Watts, and then went to school in Carson, from middle of 7th grade on. So I always claimed Watts and Carson.
Right. Take us back to a day in the life of Ras Kass growing up in LA as a teenager.
Teenager? Shit. Getting thrown out of my mama's house. Doing dumb shit with my friends. But we had a great homie structure. I was already kind of on the path of taking music seriously. I wasn't, but thanks to Battle Cat and DJ Wino, when I was about 14, 15, they were already like letting me go in the studio and work. My homeboy Dismos, him and Aline, they were signed to Bobcat and like fucking with Jinx and Cube and Easy and all of them. They were called Menace to Society back then. So we had friends doing that. Then me and my friends Dags and the housing. So like dancing and shit, but more breaking shit, not like R&B nigga shit. So yeah, we was going to clubs and shit. So I was like probably 15 going to 21-year-old clubs back then. Dags would pick me up and then take me to we go to the clubs and then get home at fucking 3 a.m. and then get up at 6 to go to school, go to junior high, crazy shit. Right. Yeah, bro. Yeah.
What kind of obstacles, if any, did you have to endure growing up in LA? Were you a studious kid, or were you out in the streets and obstacles kind of came your way?
I always say I had a very extremely both sides. I had it great. I loved how I grew up. I grew up in Watts and went to school in Watts because my parents worked, so they worked in downtown LA, and the only person that could take care of us after school was my grandmama. So my grandmother lived in Watts on 99th and Wadsworth. Actually, Spider Lope, his family lived down the street. McKinley Ave, there's a few of us. So whatever, that just grew up on that particular street. But yeah, man, like got up, you get up early, 6 a.m. Parents drop us off in Watts, go to school, come get off at 3 o'clock, run around. And then, I was young. So from till I can remember going to school, let's just say you 5, 6, whatever, first grade, whatever the fuck that is. Shit, for me, it was street lights. Niggas start shooting street lights. When the street lights come on, I can't be out after the street lights. So niggas, street lights, I remember that. Other niggas get to stay out. Niggas like just singing street lights on the nigga. And then my parents would come get us by, they get off at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. They get us about 6:30. Drive back to Carson from Watts and then do it all over again. So I got to run around in the streets during the day, and then I had that solitude that, once we got home, there wasn't no running out doing shit. And then back then, I'm dating myself, but, I remember when TV, channel, the TV shows or the TV stations fuzzed at a certain time. Like, nigga, like, what no more TV, nigga? like TV is over, so I had that quiet time to read, and all I got is sisters, so I didn't want to be with them bitches. I was a little nigga all by myself. You know what I'm saying? Pops is fucking moms. My sister's in there talking about some shit I don't relate to, and so I was fucking around just reading comic books, reading dinosaurs, reading about sharks, just regular boy shit. I was never really too big into the card thing, but everything else, imagination running, history. I always liked history. I always liked oceanography and history shit. So yeah, I was on it. Yeah.
Around this time, before really getting into music, what was the scene like? What did you see firsthand growing up in LA?
Well, I wasn't a part of it. I wasn't a factor. I was just a kid. But you know, the older homies where I grew up, that was part of the soundtrack. I was too wrapped up in the life. Like I just wanted to, you know, I'm looking up to niggas because niggas is cool and they got the waves and they got the whip and they got the girls liking them. So I just saw that. The music wasn't a factor for me. The music didn't kick in. That was like ambient noise to the fascination of niggas in the street. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, I want to be out there doing what these niggas doing. That shit just look awesome. So the scene, rap was already popping. The Bataram and King T and EPMD and Rakim and you know whatever. All that shit was going. But I didn't care about that honestly. Personally, I was more fascinated with the lifestyle. I didn't have a musical family. My father didn't listen to music. And my mother, like I got a weird cultural family. Like my mom is from Louisiana and Creoles on that side, but no soul shit. It wasn't a whole bunch of soul music being played. My mama kind of shifted where she got Christian. So, and you gotta remember that like Creoles are Catholic, so it's a whole bunch of man, nail stand. It ain't all that nigga shit. And, oh Lord, none of that. Like I didn't relate to that. So kind of quiet. I went to mass and shit. I went to a Catholic school in Watts, so I just had a different upbringing. And then my pops is like Marine, stick up his ass nigga. Well, he used to be. You know what I'm saying? So he listen to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that nigga. So ain't no music popping. So I didn't care about music because I wasn't introduced to music. And then the only music I would hear was like the shit. You know, my sisters would play with my mom. You know, or in the car. So you know, late '80s. You know, I'm hearing a whole bunch of I want to dance with somebody. I couldn't fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? With Whitney Houston, no disrespect, but I didn't want to hear that. It didn't speak to my soul. And then as I just really got, you know, running around, I listened. I heard it, but I wasn't listening to the music. And when I listened to the music, one day it just struck a chord. Like, yo, this shit is amazing. Like, I don't know. It could have been fuck the police. It was probably a few different things. KRS One and just hearing these records, and I'm just like, yo, this is it. Like these niggas saying some shit that I speaks to my spirit, and then from there I went backwards and started studying. And I fell in love with the music.
At what point did you start taking writing seriously?
So I didn't take it seriously. I tried to I tried to write oh wow, that's funny. So shouts out to Pep Williams, rest in peace, Monica Williams. These are people from my neighborhood in Watts. But Pep is a very successful skateboarder now and photographer, actually, like superstar photographer. But I I tried to write a rap for my neighborhood in Watts. Well, it wasn't the gang because the gangs in where I grow up they happen to be like 9/7 East Coast, great, whatever. But we were 99th Street, and I remember like some of the homies that wasn't gang members tried to make like a clique, like 99 East Side Hustlers. So the first rap I ever wrote was the 99 East Side Hustler rap. And I remember I wrote it, I thought I was like Beethoven, nigga. I was gonna kill him the next day, and I went and I spit my little rap, and it was like, Baby John, that shit trash. It was trash. So I completely was like, I wasn't like hurt. I just was like, oh, I'm not good at that. So I just completely forgot all about it. Fell in love with the music and really concentrated more on like, you know, b-boying, dancing and shit, you know. And so that was my focus. And then I honestly, my homeboy Bird, we were in 7th grade or maybe 8th grade, and I had a Technique 1200. He had a one of those. He had a sampler. I forgot what it was, what brand, but it had a like an 6 or 8 second sampler on it, and we used to just go in the garage, take turns. We put all our records together, and we would make these albums shitting on each other, dissing each other. So you get an hour in there, and then nobody could hear it. Then I get an hour, then we play the album against each other. And he gave the tape because his Battle Cat was dating his older sister. He gave the tape to Cat, which is crazy. I wouldn't have had no balls to do it because we looking up to them, K-Day and the Mix Masters, and he Battle Cat. You know what I'm saying? The Bobcat, they the Cat Crew. Them niggas is legendary in LA. So he had enough balls to get a nigga the tape. And if I was Cat, I wouldn't have listened to these stupid ass kids. But he took the time to listen, which is crazy. Salute to him. And rest in peace, Cluso. But Cat actually came back and was like, he pointed at Bird, and he's like, your ear is crazy on the loops. And he's like, you can rap it. And from there, he took us under his wing, man. And we was, in Corrupt and Nipsey and then Rolling Six in their neighborhood on Arlington. And literally, my mama would drop me off. We were still kids. Drop me off at Battle Cat House, and he helped me work on my do songs, and we putting songs together, and then instead of us having to catch the bus back 9 times out of 10, honestly, his best friend, a brother that just passed away named Cluso, they dropped us back home in Carson, man. So I just have really great big brothers that fucking invested in us, and when we didn't even know what we was doing, they saw something in us that we didn't recognize, and they grew that. Same thing with Wino. Coolio's producer. He, went from there, was Battle Cat, and then Wino too, and they just, I was on adventure time, man. You just young and dumb and not really giving a fuck. Honestly, I'm not unique when you wilding out with your homies, and not even, I didn't gangbang. A lot of my friends did. I was just as stupid as them, so it didn't matter about the banging part. We all did the same shit. If they had a fight, I had a fight. If I had a fight, they had a fight. So the banging part didn't even matter. It was just like, niggas acting up. So I can remember us not really. Niggas wasn't sure if they were gonna make it to 18. Niggas wasn't sure. You know what I mean? Honestly, I can remember that time in my life. But most of my friends like, bro, we don't know. And not that we was really tripping, which is silly. Fuck. But I know a lot of young brothers can relate to that, like, because you're just not giving a fuck. You kind of feel invincible, but then you're like, hey, you never know, nigga. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, yeah, it was on
that. Talk about your early start. Was it always, did you pursue trying to be solo, or were you doing the group thing at this point?
I was always solo. And I've always kind of created my own clique. So Bird was my clique, me and Bird. And then through the dance part of it, like the housing, we met other MCs, which, like I said, my friend Diz and Alim, and my big homie, their big homie too, a nigga named shit, that's horrible. Kalani. God bless me for that. Sorry, rest in peace, Kalani. Anyway, Kalani, like the first person outside of really, the people that were, the producers, but just a friend that took my rap seriously. Kalani probably was the first person. And he helped normalize me, like, he's the first person that called me Ras Kass. Like, everybody, I had a different nickname. Like, when you're, like, trying to evolve, and, like, I went from Baby John and Watts to Raisin was my nickname in middle school. And then I was trying to become Ras Kass. I named myself Ras Kass. They were like, you Baby John, nigga. And I'm like, no, nigga, call me. So, yeah, it was really cool that, he helped normalize my growth and allowed me to become who I was striving to be. And from there, the rest of it was the process.
Was Wild Wild West your first label in '91?
I wasn't signed to Wild West. So Wild West was. And to answer your question, my clique was Bird. We went to high school with Voodoo, and we were called something else. We were a clique on some housing shit and throwing parties. We was promoters in high school. So I ended up going to jail, juvenile hall, I did like a year and a half, and then when I got out, Voodoo was signed to Wild West, and he was popping. And him and Bird were doing their thing, and then Mean Green, rest in peace. So they kind of had their own thing that they pulled me into, but I was never in a group. And then once I kind of got back, I mean, I was kind of known in high school for rhyming too. It was both, the housing, the dancing shit. But then I was transitioning into the rhyming thing because Q kind of had he's like, I'll leave that for the dudes with the funny haircuts.
Right.
So I was like, fuck, if I want to rhyme, I can't dance. But we became Western Hemisphere like once I kind of joined that clique. But I was always a solo artist, and then Voodoo was his own artist. I was just his second mic, and he would be my second mic. Same thing with me and Exhibit. I would always, me and somebody would gravitate and end up, having a rapport, and then we kind of build, but always individual. I was always, yeah. It's too hard to deal with yourself, let alone dealing with another nigga, man. Groups are hard. Very, very.
Right.
I don't know how Wu-Tang pulled that shit off. That shit crazy.
I'm in
a group with 3 other niggas who I look up crazy, bro. The Horsemen is crazy.
Oh, I imagine.
Yeah. Man.
Was Trick or Treat your first time on wax?
So no. I I was on a RCA record called Don't Look Now by a group. They're kind of like a Color Me Bad. They were called Domino Theory. They were signed to RCA, and shouts out to them. Bobby Loud, the pianist, the jazz pianist, his sons. So Robin and Thomas Loud, they had put me on this song. And TKS, yeah, man. They put me on this song. The first time I was in Beverly Hills, crazy mansion studio, and I heard my voice, and then I went up like 7 octaves, and I sounded like a fucking Smurf. So that was the first time I actually rapped. I came out on their vinyl on their remix, and then the second time I learned from that experience. And then thank God for Box and Battle Cat. They gave me an opportunity to kind of because I was really young when I did that, the Don't Look Now, the Auntie record. But yeah, by then I was kind of figuring out my voice, like in the studio when I did Trick or Treat with Box. That was Box's record.
No doubt. At this time, are you shopping demos after the Trick or Treat? And is there a bidding war possibly for Ras Kass?
I have a demo out probably around that time.
Is that on Maverick?
That was Battle Cats. So Maverick was Madonna's label. That's Cat's deal. So that was him as a producer putting together his hit list of artists that he had, singers and whatever. So yeah, we're featured on that album. But no, that was Maverick. My deal was I started buzzing, and a few of the brothers that at the time worked at Capitol Records, ironically, Malik Levy and Lano Brazil, they kind of took me under their wing, and then Paul Stewart, DJP, and so Paul really gravitated to me and started supporting me. And so my deal right before I went to jail was the Far Side deal. So that was my deal. I was going to sign to Delicious Vinyl. All they had was brand new heavies. They didn't have Far Side. So then I bumped. My first opportunity to get signed was that. And I introduced Roma and Imani. We were in Frisco at like a Gavin or one of the music industry conventions, and I brought them up to meet Paul. They hit it off dope too. They did Your Mama with no beat and killed it. It was all, whatever. And then I had to go to jail anyway. I knew I was out. So by the time I got home, they were like passing me by, came out the album, like they crushed it, and they were working on like the second album. So yeah, so that was my first deal.
Right. So where do you find yourself after you get out of jail?
That's when I run back I'm at the Fox Hills Mall. I run into Bird and them. I'm, little huff little nigga, doing the, fresh out of jail shit, stupid kid shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's when they pulled me in the Wild West and over there and meeting the Mexicans. They're still good brothers of mine. I'm actually going to Monterrey, Mexico with them in a couple of weeks, and Bun B. So yeah, Monterrey, Mexico. Haul ass. We're going to be there chilling. Yeah, no, that's how I met Mean Green. That's where Western Hemisphere starts. At the same time that I get out, I'm always talking to Wino, who's the Samoan and black brother from with Coolio with the big afro. So that's my big homie from our neighborhood in Carson, from one I know. So I would always talk to Wino. Wino's like, yeah, you know, Dub C in the Man Circle. I'm like, yeah, of course. You know what I'm saying? Pay dues and all that. He's like, I'm working with Coolio. And he's like, yo, when you get out, like Coolio really like what you're doing. I'm like, oh, good shit. And so, ironically, in that year and a half span, it went from I'm working with Coolio to, hey, we got some interest, to shit, we got a record deal, to fuck, nigga, the video coming out, and da da da. So by the time I get out, like County Line was out. And so all these things were happening at the same time. So it was kind of crazy. I got to like get out. Voodoo's doing his thing with Bird and Mean Green, and then I'm over here with Wino and Coolio, and I'm on Lollapalooza with these niggas traveling the fucking world, and I'm a fucking kid fresh out. So just really good brothers, man, big brothers that looked out for like most people, just didn't have the direction and too hard headed to listen to his parents,
Right.
regular.
Right.
I'm not proud of it. They were smart. They were right about some things. I was right about some, but as my father would say, hard head make for a soft ass. So a couple of times my ass got toe up.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of the labels you shopped at before you landed at Patchwork Priority?
Well, we didn't shop at Patchwork. So Patchwork is the production company. That happens because still I have to go backwards in time. When I'm making my first demo, I playing dominoes with my friends while we're still in high school, basically. And one of my friends I respect is here. He was just always a critic and a lyricist. Like he's just about the bars. And I lied and played the tape while like 5, 6 of us was playing dominoes. And it was like, who is this nigga? I'm like some New York nigga. I don't know. I lied and shit. I played my demo because I wanted to get his opinion. And first song came on, and niggas want like turn his bullshit off. So I was like, phew. You know what I'm saying? Then second song, third song, whatever, by the like third, fourth song, my friend was like, man, this nigga hard, man. Whoever the fuck this nigga is one of the dopest rappers ever. And then I'm like, it's me. And he's like, shut up, bitch. I ain't you, nigga. Yeah, and then it was awesome. His name is Curtis Daniel. He owns Patchwork Studios in Atlanta. So that whole my Patchworks is a neighborhood in Carson too. So there's one I know is the Crips and the Patch is the Bloods. I lived in the Blood neighborhood, but I hung with the Crip niggas because all the girls was over there anyway. I was on that too. Plus in Watts, I grew up in a Crip neighborhood, so I was a little more socialized that way. But Kurt had went off to Georgia, not Georgia, Michigan State. Bob was paying for the Falcons. So also, this is all crazy. At the same time, when I get out of jail, all these things are happening. So again, there's Battle Cat and the Wino Coolio thing. There's Voodoo and Bird and them doing their thing. And then there's also Bob that's playing for the Atlanta Falcons. Kurt's at Michigan State. And he's like, well, why don't you have, Bob get $20 million a year. Like, you the dopest rapper, nigga. We should do something and make this company between the homies. That's why it's called Patchworks in Atlanta. So that's really how that story starts. So all those things are happening at the same time, which is crazy. But Patchworks was going to be an independent label, so that's why we put out the first songs independently. And then things started falling apart. There was some bad business going on Bob's part, never on Curtis's part. But we bubbled and we got a really great response, and it was a blessing. It gave us an opportunity. I got flown out to Def Jam, so Chris Lighting, rest in peace. Our options was Def Jam, American, which was Def American, Rick Rubin. He used to pick me up like crazy. Like in retrospect, my life is crazier, like Stranger Than Fiction. So Rick Rubin would pick me up in a fucking Rolls Royce, and I probably look weird as fuck for this, 17-year-old little black kid getting picked up by like this fat white man with a big beard. It looked like going on. I'm sure that should look weird as fuck, but it was awesome, man. Yeah, Rick Rubin would pick me up and play me demos of like unreleased LL. I used to have like LL Cool J songs, Beastie Boy records, like crazy shit. Just shit I wish I had right now. Like, and so yeah. So just real quick, it was Def Jam. It was Def American. Shit, I didn't even notice. They didn't fucking tell me, but apparently Rifkin told me that Loud made an offer. There was somebody else, and there was Priority. So I picked Priority because, for one, I didn't want to get lost in the mix. I was like, Def Jam got a gang of niggas. If I would have picked Loud, honestly. If I would have known that was an option, and it probably was because of whatever he offered wasn't the same amount, wasn't as competitive. But they lied to me because I was a big Loud fan. They had the roster. Like, Def Jam had the roster too. But I mean, like, the only other niggas with like that kind of, Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, the Licks, like Punk.
Cellar Dwellers.
Right. They had niggas over there. Them niggas had squad. Priority ended up having squad too, but I picked Priority because I'm a West Coast nigga. I'm a born and raised. I'm not a nigga that came from somewhere else trying to act like LA nigga. I'm really from here. And so I felt like the lineage that made me was Ice Cube and WA and Snoop Dogg. And I was just an evolution of that. And I wanted to be in homage, and I wanted to join forces with my big homies from my coast and hopefully be a part of that movement with them. So that's why I picked the label. In retrospect, probably did the wrong thing for the right reason. But if I would have known that I had an option to go to Loud, I would have ran over there. Fuck that. Right. I would have just wanted my beats and shit. I'm like, yo, nigga, RZA was already fucking with me. And yeah, bro, Licks over there, they just had a great squad, but I didn't even know they gave me an offer. Yeah.
1994, you dropped Remain Anonymous and etc. As well as I Won't Catch Me Running. How much of the album is done in 1994?
Probably none of it, because it was a different project.
Okay.
And that's kind of when shit started hitting the fan. So we were still working, and we still had the team, and we were still working Hemisphere, and it was, I had B-Boy Scientists. I had like a whole different project. Like I was already on something, and then once things unraveled, I started kind of from scratch. But I would say by 95, like beginning of 94, pretty much threw all that shit in the trash and then started over. And then by middle of 95, no, by early 95, I was pretty much done. Nature the Threat, like most of the album. But then that's when things had fully blown up. Like it went all bad just on the business side. People hadn't, been true to their word, all that shit. Whatever, normal business shit.
Right.
And we had to negotiate with whoever we were gonna pick for a label. So I had to go through, fill the offers, and then picking a label. And then that took about 7 months. And then we got the budget and got the money, and then niggas was, digging their big ass hands up and scooping large amounts of the money out. But I had to finish the album, and it was about 80% by the top of 96. It was 80%, and then I had to go back and kind of try to, because the sonics changed. Like it was real grimy, dirty. If you think of Wu-Tang and what that sound was, then fast forward like a couple of years later, like Tribe Called Quest, and shit is really crispy, and Diamond D, like the production got really, really clean. That grimy shit was. So we kind of lost the timing of when the record was supposed to come out. The source had already heard the majority of the record. No Cap like I think Nas was the only person that ever got 5 mics. They had heard the the album as was, and literally were considering giving me 6 mics, like crazy shit. I mean, you got to think though. Order of KO, Nature the Threat, and On Earth as It Is in Heaven. Niggas wasn't doing the shit I was doing. Niggas still can't do the shit I was doing. Yeah,
Right.
but yeah, yeah. So it was. It just. That album didn't really come out for another year and a half, and then thanks to Flip, my nigga Flip, Michael Barber, he came in and helped me finish the album. The Miami Life and all that stuff is where all that shit came in. So and he helped bring up the Sonics because I basically. They kind of, the budget it was $500,000, but niggas started digging their big ass fucking fingers in there. And then I had to finish this album. They were like, oh, where the budget gone? Like, come on, bro. So, you know what I mean? So I'm in my pocket out of my advance money trying to finish the album because niggas is bitch ass niggas. But that's all there was.
Right. If you can take us back, we're going to rewind just a little bit to December of 1994. I
love that cover. It's an amazing cover.
Can you take us back to how this came about?
I'm first of all, I was fans of that whole Medusa and everybody, man. And they have been putting on. I mean, and created their own fucking foundation. You know what I'm saying? Like the Leimert Park, that whole shit. And of course, we were supportive and would be there and participate. But that was their shit. You know what I'm saying? And so to even be considered with them, because I felt like they were like the grade above me. That's the way we looked at them. You know what I'm saying? Like Freestyle Fellowship and all of them. They already whatever. I'm the freshman, and they may not be the seniors, but they definitely the sophomores. They doing their shit. They already fucking getting. Freestyle Fellowship got a deal. The album is out, so just even be included and considered with that part of the West Coast hip hop family. For me, I just was humbling, and I never took this shit seriously again. For me, it's something I had a passion for that I enjoyed, but I never. Project Globe, you got it. Yes, sir. Exactly. Well, when I say Freestyle Fellowship, I mean all of that. But I just never. It was always surreal for me. And so even getting these write-ups in these magazines that I bought and read, for me, I was always very humbled and grateful and appreciative. But in the back of my brain, I was like, this shit ain't real. I don't even know what the fuck. Like somebody's gonna wake me up like, nah, it's a joke, nigga. So I just kind of approached it like that from the beginning, and it always kind of, it was always amazing. It tripped me out, like, really? Okay, you want me in here? Like, nigga, I ain't got nothing to say, nigga. Like, what? Nigga, I'm just happy to be here, bro. Like, whatever. So, right. That's the nice part about it, man, is being included amongst people that you have the ultimate respect for. Like, that's how I felt. I've just always, to be included with these amazing people was always like, really? Okay, cool. Thanks. That's weird.
Right. Were you doing Project Blowed and The Good Life and Elements?
Their Home, The Good Life, and Project Blowed. I'm telling you, like, first of all, some of them niggas is gang members, bro. So you go over there and get beat up if you was. I'm telling you, it's not just styles and art, bro. It's still hood niggas. You in the middle of Leimert Park in a neighborhood, and then there's niggas from different neighborhoods, and they all click together, and that's how kind of LA was. But not kind of. That's how LA was. Hip hop created cliques. Whereas it used to just be gangs, now you had like a blood nigga and some Mexican niggas, some Southsiders, and they was down with an Armenian nigga. And now you can Voltron all these niggas because they just like rap or they do this together. It created some different kinds of cliques. That's where the tag banging came from, all that, NBT and all that shit, Number Troubles and all that. So, yeah, we went because we had love for them. They, they legends. They put it down, before we did. So of course, go support. Got to get down. You know what I'm saying? Got to get on the mic and make sure you represent because you want people to respect you. But yeah, that wasn't like my home base. That was their home base. You know what I'm saying? We were trying to create our own home base. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I spit butane, burn any bastard you name. To further your buzz, you appeared on the Street Fighter soundtrack, and if I'm not mistaken, I think you and Saphir made Ahmad step his bars up a little bit
No,
extra.
already
Nah?
nice. Ahmad was
Okay.
what people didn't know. Ahmad was on the Wake Up Show gunning motherfuckers. So Sway and Tech had left the Bay and they were in LA, and that was the only show in town if you wanted to get on the radio and be heard. And I go for Biggie and Tupac and whoever. LA wasn't born in radio, wasn't playing no fucking rap, nigga. It was not gonna happen. So if you wanted to be heard, if you had a show, I don't care who you were, you was going, unless you was Ice Cube, you had to just be the nigga, like you done sold 1 trillion records. MC Hammer or something. But if you got all the biggies, nah, nigga, you going to Wake Up Show, that shit Friday night at a fucked up time. You got to leave the club early. You got to go at 11 o'clock, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the fuck it was, 11, 12, midnight, and then do your part and then try to get back to the club. Like, it was some other shit. But it was a war zone. It was a gladiator school. And I used to go burn niggas down. I can't take no strike from him. So he had a hit record. He had a platinum record. He's one of the people that really, and I'll say this for Will I Am too, because they was at Band Clan before it was the Black Eyed Peas. And it was cut from the fucking core of like real grimy underground hip hop shit. So niggas can rap if they want. I watched Will a couple of years ago. I think freestyle for like fucking an hour, was gunning niggas just recently. Niggas be hip hop heads on the low. Yeah, so no, I could always rhyme.
So what's your best memory, and how did that Street Fighter soundtrack come about, working with Saphir and Ahmad?
I already knew Ahmad because I'd see him out. I did not know Sin-seer. I'd met him once, and I saw him in Minister Society, Cousin Harold. And then all the chicks was like, "Oh, he fine." I was like, "Bitch, I was with a bitch." And she was talking, I'm like, "Fuck this nigga." You know? Shouts out to Sin-seer. But that was really Sway and Tech. So that was Gladiator School. We graduated with Gladiator School. They handpicked us 3, and they had a certain amount of slots for that soundtrack, and they picked us. Like, none of us hung together like that. But we got on and we did our thing on the radio, on the show. And thanks to, I was just talking to Sway extensively yesterday, man. He's still a big brother of mine and a mentor and whatever, but wonderful dude. Yeah, they gave us let me speak for self. They gave me, because it was a dude on LA radio right before them, and they shut him down. He was dope. He was a white guy named Mike Nardone. So he was the first person that let me get on FM radio, period, in LA. And then they shut him down, and then Sway and them came, and then they took that platform that they have from Oakland, from Frisco, from the Bay, and really blew up LA in hip hop in LA, and gave that platform. Because we're the second biggest market. It's New York, then it's LA, then whatever, I don't know where it goes, probably Atlanta, whatever. So it's so many people there. Like, that exposure can change your life, and they changed mine. Yeah, and they handpicked us, and we killed it. Thank God that we killed it enough to warrant a video, because then that really changed everything.
Right. You also appeared on the Substitute soundtrack. Did Miami Life appear on that first, or was that on the album, then they took it?
No, I made it for the soundtrack.
Okay. How'd that come about, and how did life change for Ras Kass after that?
That was when Sway and them put me on that soundtrack, on the Street Fighter soundtrack, and they shot the video. I think that's when Priority as a company took notice, like, who's that kid? And so that's when that started. So then they reached out to me directly. And was like, yo, we need a song. And by the way, you know, how about doing this deal with us? So it's like the carrot and the stick. So that, yeah, they reached out and we did the deal. They gave me some more bread to do the soundtrack. I mean, to make a record for it. And then, yeah, we did it. I produced it. That's when I was still producing. And then, yeah. And then my whole thing about soundtracks was I used to hate watching, like, it'd be like these LA movies and be a gang of New York niggas. Yo, son, it was hard in the streets of LA, son. Yo, son, what the fuck? Why the soundtrack don't sound like the movie? And, you know, because normally with soundtracks, people just groupie out and they get whoever's super popular and put them on a soundtrack. Whereas I feel like make a soundtrack that makes sense with the content of the movie and the journey of the movie. I think Black Panther did a great job with their soundtrack. Some soundtracks are just totally awesome. They enhance the experience of the movie. So I was trying to do that. That's why I made it Miami Life. I'm not from Miami. It did help though. Made a lot of Miami niggas listen to me and open that door for me. But I didn't. I did it because I had saw the movie and ahead of time, and when I wanted to make something that made sense for the movie, you know, instead of saying, you know, West Coast living is hard. And, you know, I was trying to make more of a Miami, more of a hip hop record, but where it was relevant to the experience of the movie. So for better or for worse, that's what I was trying to do.
Right.